Good evening. Let me go over the next chapter. Um, let's go. Okay, so chapter 57, second half of 2016. I only have a few more chapters left. So I'm going to try to pack in as much information as I can, but at the same time, making sure that I'm keeping the same pacing. So, second half of 2016, that evening, Erica and Michael prepared to fly to their annual trip to Hawaii and Japan. This year, the trip to Hawaii's Pearl Harbor Memorial. Then they will go to Japan to visit Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and Okinawa. Also, they will visit her father's estranged family as well. So, Erica, Michael, and his parents will use only one car to get to San Francisco International Airport. As a result, his parents spent the night at Erica and Michael's duplex. Over dinner, they went over their itinerary as well as what little insight Erica had regarding her father's side of the family. After she told them exactly which island her paternal grandparents are from, she started with her grandfather's side of the family. Next, she talked about the one nugget of information she had about her grandmother. The entire time she was growing up, for some reason, several people told her to keep her mouth closed. Michael gasped and covered his mouth. He said that he did notice that her father does not have any filter. He says exactly what he's thinking. She nodded. At this time, Michael's father advised her to try to get a copy of the family tree and possible photographs. She nodded. At this time, Michael asked her what was on her mind. Erica replied that helping her father get into university brings back memories of her struggle navigating this country's educational system. She doesn't understand why it never dawned on her father that this country is the wrong one for her brother. He failed kindergarten, he had problems with his physical education teacher in middle school. Both times her parents did not heed the warning signs. Granted, it may be partly Erica's fault. She quickly learned that it's either sink or swim in this country. When she started school, she didn't speak any English, and none of their English as a second language teachers spoke Japanese. Erica had to learn how to swim on her own. On the other hand, her younger brother didn't struggle because she taught him English at home. As a result, he didn't even try. He didn't even realize that he was in a downward spiral. Thus, her excelling at school gave her parents a false sense of security about her younger brother. They may have thought, well, Erica figured it out, he'll figure it out eventually. That being said, Erica was fortunate that the Murphy family helped her. Since they helped her, she's determined to do whatever it takes to help her father. Although this country let him in due to his university diploma, he did not realize that his diploma does not mean anything in this country. If he really wants to succeed in this country, he first has to get a degree here. When Erica looked at Michael's parents, she saw that they were deep in thought, so she let the matter go. Granted, she felt a lot better after she vented her frustration on their parents and this country's educational system. On a side note, this gave her additional information to add to her revamped senior capstone project. While Erica and Michael's mom washed the dishes, Michael took Kamali to Kim and Richard's home. Michael's parents already boarded both of their dogs at the reputable kennel beforehand. Because it doesn't make sense to have Richard take care of all four dogs, because they already have one dog, and then they got three more dogs. So after taking turns taking a long bath, they retired. Although Erica was afraid how her interaction with the father's side of the family would go, she did look forward to the information she would gain from her next trip to Hawaii and Japan. Next morning, they boarded the plane to Honolulu, Hawaii. That evening, Michael's parents set down the rules regarding what to wear, how to behave the entire time that they're at the memorial. Now, keep in mind, this is not like Hiroshima and Nagasaki where you can just walk in. There's a lot of protocols. It's still a military base. Even though there's park rangers, they also have to follow the military base rules. And same thing with people who visit the memorial as well. And keep in mind, 900 people lost their lives there. during the war. So everybody needs to dress a specific way, behave a certain way the entire time that they're there. Um, so Michael's uncle, drove them to the memorial. After they went through the security gate, Michael's father took Erica and Michael to the various sites. During the entire trip, Erica made certain to keep her mind clear and focus on what the park rangers were saying and read the literature that was available throughout the park. At the end of the visit, Erica respectfully thanked them for the tour. Michael's father nodded. They spent the rest of the week visiting the Hashimoto family. Erica especially spent time reading diaries left by Michael's grandparents. By this time, they had passed away several years earlier. However, all four of them made certain to leave a written record of their experience. She read carefully their first-hand experience, learning exactly what they were doing when they heard that Japan bombed Pearl Harbor and the aftermath. She also learned what they went through going outside for the duration of the war, and she read their reflections about their life on the islands after the war. When she finished reading their accounts, she thanked the Hashimoto family and returned the journals back to them. During their stay, she did go to the family gravesite. After Erica took out her prayer beads, she prayed. At this time, she thanked Michael's grandparents for sharing their story with her. At the end of the week, they went to the international airport to board their plane to Western Japan. They spent the first half of the week in Hiroshima. Erica was in awe at how modern the city looked. However, it was sobering to learn that much of the city had to be rebuilt after the bomb was dropped. They did preserve some buildings to show visitors exactly what it looked like right after the bombing. While they spent time at the museum, Erica respected their rule of not making any video or audio recordings. Next, they went to the Peace Park. Erica appreciated the fact that signs and literature were written in English and Japanese, so she didn't have to bug Michael to translate. At this time, Erica let them know that one of her parents' family friends was a hibakusha. Hibakusha are people who were in either Hiroshima or Nagasaki when the bomb went off, and they are survivors, so they're called hibakusha. And unfortunately, her family friend passed away from cancer. Also, since each prefecture in Japan, on a positive note, since each prefecture in Japan serves dishes that are available only locally, Erica made sure to try out some local delicacies during her stay. At this time, Michael took advantage of the brewery scene, enjoyed local beers as well. Next, they spent the second half of the week taking the public tram to Nagasaki. After going through the Atomic Bomb Museum, they spent the rest of the week sightseeing. Then they flew from Nagasaki to Okinawa. After going to the Peace Memorial Museum and Park, they spent the entire week sightseeing. On all of these three places, Erica made certain to buy at least one refrigerator magnet. The final week in Japan, they boarded the plane from Okinawa back to Western Japan. There they spent the day with their father's side of the family. As he spoke, Michael translated to Erica. The grandparents thought they did the right thing. All their children had children of their own. So that leads to a false sense of security, right? However, none of their children got married or they're married without any children. Also, some male children are hikikomori, which means they're homebound for one reason or another. Erica wondered whether this is due to growing up in a country that's xenophobic and homophobic. This time, she wondered how many of her male cousins might be gay. It would explain in part why they're hikikomori, or she wondered whether being hikikomori was more due to intergenerational trauma from the war. Since Japan's marriage and birth rate continues to go down, she wasn't surprised that her father's side of the family isn't the only one in this country without any next of kin. Although her father left Japan, he did bring the family's trauma to the United States. Moreover, she couldn't fully blame her father for leaving Japan. Had he stayed, he would have been forced to see what the war did to the next generation, his nephews and nieces. And she knew that he would not be able to stomach what she learned about this side of the family. Granted, if she were her father, she would have done things differently. Instead, she would have forced her parents to disown her. She would have gotten a university education in the United States. Then she would have gotten married to a natural born citizen without her parents meddling in their daughter's marriage. Perhaps this is what could have given her father a better life. Granted, her mother's side of the family was also impacted by the war. However, her maternal grandparents shielded their children and grandchildren from the wartime trauma. All of her maternal cousins are married with children of their own. In sharp contrast, the war affected her father's side of the family to the point where it affected how they parented their children. At this time, Erica realized that she may never get the full story of why the two halves of her family are completely different from each other. She also saw that her endometriosis definitely came from her father's side, since none of her female cousins on her father's side are having children of their own. So the decision is up to Erica. She can either open Pandora's box and get her DNA tested, or she could remain in the dark regarding her paternal grandmother being told to keep her mouth closed. It was a lot to process. However, this trip was eye-opening at the very least. The next day, they flew back to San Francisco. As soon as they landed, Erica thanked Michael and his parents for taking her to this part of Hawaii and Japan. At this time, they told Erica to let them know what else they can do to help her on her journey to learning about her heritage. She nodded. After Erica and Michael returned to their gated community, Michael picked up Kamali'i from his cousin Richard. At this time, Ashley couldn't wait for Erica to get settled. As she had excellent news from her father, he finally got one of the highest standardized test scores. Erica said that she was thrilled, thanked them for all their help. As she immediately added that she, Trey Murphy Jr., Aaron, and Rio will help her father reapply for admission to the public university. That way that Erica can focus on her job. After she thanked Ashley again, Ashley returned to her parents' home. Also, she got a postcard from the post office. She had a care package from her aunt, from mother's side. After she went to the post office to pick it up, she wrote a handwritten letter thanking her aunt. At this time, the postal worker stopped by their home, so she gave her stamped envelope to him with her thanks. The following weekend, Erica and Michael helped her father make the permanent move to Michael's parents' gated community. At this time, Michael's parents said that they'll take care of the sale of the home and property taxes. Once Erica's father graduates and is completely back on his feet, then they would transfer ownership of the home to her father. At this time, Erica's father thanked them for all their help. They nodded. When Erica and Michael returned to the home, he called a local priest to schedule a date and time to spiritually cleanse and bless the grand unit. At this time, his younger sister announced that she would move into that unit the following summer. So during the priest's visit, there was something about the scent of sage that gave Erica a sense of peace and calm. After getting Michael's blessing, she brought some sage incense with burner, as well as a sage reed diffuser set. Just in case the smell bothers Michael, she only uses it in her personal bathroom, and she makes certain to open the window all the way whenever she uses it. That evening after dinner, they cuddled. Michael was afraid of her answer. However, he had to ask the question. If her father ever sheds his homophobia, then how would she react? She carefully replied she would rather that he remain homophobic. As long as he's homophobic, he'll stay out of his adult daughter's marriage. Michael's eyes popped out of his head. Granted, he knew that she was telling the truth. He saw her father's side of the family, and they're better off having her father stay away from them. Also, there was one more thing that happened. The husband of a prominent local Japanese American woman suddenly passed away from a massive heart attack. Both of her children are still in college. After they had the funeral at the local Buddhist temple, she was ready to listen to Chachi's parents' proposal because they go to the same church. She ended up selling her home and moved into their gated community because keep in mind they have 5 homes. One is still vacant, so she's going to take that other one. With the sudden passing, there's no way for her to continue to pay for their mortgage on her own. This time, Erica offered to pay for both of her children's university education. Much to her relief, the widow accepted Erica's generosity. When Erica picked up the local paper, she read his biography. Craig Remington, its grandparents openly opposed the incarceration of 110,000 people with Japanese ancestry in the aftermath of the attack on Pearl Harbor. And his parents pushed very hard for reparations during the 1980s. He and his family were definitely allies to the entire Japanese American community. Moreover, he would be greatly missed. Upon looking at his photo, he looked physically fit. However, Chachi was a student athlete in high school and is a part-time personal trainer at the Adaptive Fitness Center. So Erica knew that being physically fit does not necessarily mean that they are a picture of perfect health. For now, she had to put this on hold before they figure out what went wrong with his health. Sometime after the funeral, the autopsy results were made public with the widow's consent. His cholesterol levels were within normal range. However, he did have undiagnosed high blood pressure. This made sense since he was a probation officer in the local county. It's a high-stress job. Also, his sodium levels were extremely high. So at this time, his widow and their children got tested for heart problems. So far, they're within normal range. However, just in case, Meg removed the salt shaker from their dining room table. Also, she went to the clinic to make an appointment with their nutritionist on how to prepare meals with either salt substitutes or low salt options. In addition, they learned how to read labels of common foods. They were stunned at how many different types of foods have air quotes hidden salt in them. All of our new neighbors, as well as Chachi's gated community, Chachi's gated community also got tested. All of her new neighbors, as well as Chachi's gated community, also got tested for possible heart issues, with a sudden increase in the number of people who want to make an appointment with the clinic. Keep in mind, clinic only has one nutritionist. So she ended up just making a class about salt. So rather than taking on additional appointments, the front desk had the patients sign up for classes instead. It would be difficult. Most holiday foods, especially Asian foods, are full of salt, such as soy sauce, miso, and fish products. They did this not only to make sure that they don't become seriously ill, they also did this in solidarity to Meg and her children. When they went to the internet to look up the widow's biography, Erica found something interesting. Megumi, air quotes Meg von Hessen Remington's father, is mixed race, while her mother is made in Japan, Japanese woman. There was one interesting thing that started to happen before Meg moved in. Erica's father let himself go. He dressed remotely similar to a homeless person, let his facial hair grow. However, as soon as she moved in, her father started wearing nice clothes, kept his hair clean, remained clean-shaven, started going to the Adaptive Fitness Center to work out. Granted, she is extremely good-looking with blue eyes and brown hair. During the rare times when she smiles, she definitely looks made in Japan, Japanese. So obviously he has to step up his A game. Also in the evenings, Erica went to the internet to see the audience's reaction to both podcasts while they were on summer hiatus. In terms of both podcasts, a lot of people wanted them to have guests who are famous. So in terms of both, for famous, it made sense. However, the podcasts have a limited number of views. On the other hand, she made a mental note to bring this up the next time they meet. On the other hand, her revamped television show was blowing up. The small businesses that were showcased saw a temporary increase in foot traffic. The first day of September was a Friday. As well as her tradition, Chachi's tradition, Chachi called to let Erica know she has returned from her vacation. That weekend, they had their annual barbecue at the gated community. It was bittersweet for Erica. Her father moved to his permanent home, and she had to admit that she did miss Leilani. However, they will meet again New Year's Day in their gated community. While they had the barbecue, Chachi's elder siblings reached out to Erica to resume their podcast. When she went to the internet, she saw quite a number of people watched their previous videos. It made sense. People took time off from school or work during the summer. As they read the comments, they came up with ideas for the next podcast and started hashing out how they're going to present the information. In terms of the clinic, she saw quite a number of people who watched her podcast during the summer. This time, they proposed Erica being the next focus. So, she talked about her journey. When she talked about being a research subject about a possible link between genetics and endometriosis, it did start a discussion in the comments section. For Erica, she learned that a specific set of mutated genes is found in women who have this disease. And for Erica, she inherited the genes from her father's side of the family. So after this podcast aired, quite a number of women got their DNA tested. Same as Erica, Kim found that she had inherited her set of genes from her father. Maria was not surprised as she inherited her genes from her mom, who was also diagnosed with this disease. For Maria's daughter, Erin, she wasn't surprised as she inherited the genes from both of her parents. Her father's a DES grandson, DES grandson. Her aunt's also diagnosed with endometriosis and is a DES granddaughter. Maria has the disease as well. So it's not surprising that Erin has the genes from both parents. In the United States, only 10 to 15% of women have this disease, but in Japan, it's upwards of 35%. It makes sense. Most parents in Japan are xenophobic, so their adult children are expected to marry their own kind, so it makes sense that Japan has a higher percentage of this disease. At the clinic, Erica helped out the community health education team teach local school children about health education. She preached the fact that the students are taught in the same room rather than segregate according to their assigned gender. That way, there is accountability regarding exactly what these students will be taught. Plus, it was easier teaching students in one go rather than one class for female students, a separate class for male students. Also, Erica helped the clinic's environmental medicine specialist write a journal article regarding detailing how menopause affects endometriosis patients, differ from women in general. Around this time, Erica had blood work done. Much to her relief, all the numbers are about the same as the previous year. She also made appointments to the dentist and eye doctor. At the same time, Erica started writing her own article about how endometriosis affects queer women differently from straight women. She felt that now she's not ready to write more about the community since she's now a decade into her marriage. Plus, she knew that relatives in Japan no longer interested in her research focus by now. As soon as Chachi got word of her new research, Chachi offered her 2 cents about her journey and where she is right now. Erica made sure to make it clear that she's not queer. Instead, she is an ally. That way, she won't be falsely accused of culturally appropriating their community. After she posted the results of her own research, she did a podcast about this topic. By this time, the clinic's podcast was generating more interest, and there was over 1 million subscribers to the channel. A similar thing was happening with the podcast with Chachi's siblings. There's more interest, and although Chachi's siblings knew where Erica stands regarding ad revenue, they carefully asked her to reconsider accepting some of it. She replied, "No, next 5 years, she has a financial situation. As a result, it's a hard no. As a result, she asked them to re-ask again after 5 years. However, she advised them to talk to Michael instead. Although they were disappointed, they respected her decision." Around this time, her father talked about the podcast. Although he said he never knew their people, he accepted his son-in-law. Erica carefully corrected him, told him that he's still queer. Much to her relief, he continued to keep his distance. During the weekends, they weren't recording their podcast. Erica joined Maria's parents on their ride along with their senior clients and caregivers. One couple needs dental care. However, they don't have insurance, and one dentist gave them an estimate of several $1,000s. For the treatment, there were several couples of various age and backgrounds who were taking care of the middle-aged son who is housebound in a different home. Although they have private health insurance, their insurance refused to cover the care they receive at the hospital. So at this time, Erica proposed putting part of her earnings from the studio to a stock brokerage firm. She could use the dividends to pay part of their care. When they agreed, Maria's parents agreed. They went to one of The Murphy family members, who was an attorney, drew up a contract after Erica got the okay from Michael to put part of her earnings in a separate account. She went to a brokerage firm, created a separate account. Once she started receiving dividends in the form of cash, she started joining them on their rounds. At each home, she sat down with the couple and offered financial help. For couples who were taking care of their adult son, she asked whether or not they got an attorney to get him disability status. If not, she helped them get the right attorney to get that accomplished. For couples who said no, we tried that route but failed, she asked a lot more questions to try to figure out what they need to say or do. For sons, she realized that, no, this is not going to work out. She has a lot of questions to piece together what's wrong with her son. For example, with one son, she saw that he became addicted to prescription painkiller medicine because she could hear him constantly saying that he's in pain. Once he got that diagnosed, Erica paid for his drug rehab. In terms of a different son, she realized that he's queer and his parents are homophobic. So for him, she got him a counselor who is also queer and also has homophobic parents. With each couple, she listened carefully, asked a lot of questions. She looked at their parents and son's behavior to piece together exactly what's going on. As she went to each couple, she asked them whether or not they would be okay with her sharing their story. At this time, she started her own YouTube channel called Erica Cares. At first, she didn't get any views. However, after the Murphy family contacted Google to get her channel on their front page, she saw an increase in the number of people who watched her videos. Some of the people even asked how they can help seniors and caregivers in their local community. At least one of the viewers asked what's wrong with Asian sons expecting their senior parents to take care of them. The son's supposed to take care of the parents. Another person replied, well, maybe it's because of trauma from one of the wars, the Second World War, Korean War, Vietnam War. Erica was in awe of the fact that all the comments were positive. Moreover, she saw that people who leave comments are thoughtful. On a positive note, her father reapplied for admission to a public university in San Francisco. Finally, he got great news. He's passing all of his English and math classes at the local community college. His standardized college admissions test score is finally high enough. He was accepted into admission to the university. He will start in January 2017. He will be one semester behind his peers. However, as long as he takes 2 summer classes, in addition to being a full-time student during the fall and spring classes, he will graduate December 2018. In mid-October, Erica celebrated Michael's 40th birthday. Time flew by so fast. Same as a decade before, Michael continued to be more and more good-looking as the years went by. However, with Peter's early passing and Meg's husband's sudden passing, she made a mental note to not take their time together for granted. Anything can happen. There isn't any guarantees. Also during this month, Erica went to the clinic to get her annual flu shot. In November, the Murphy Construction Companies updated the studio on their progress. They will finish construction by Thanksgiving. As a result, the studio will be able to move in no later than Christmas break. At this time, the studio ramped up boxing up their belongings, giving each one a label regarding which room the box will go to. Also, they contacted Murphy Moving Company with a schedule of when they will help the studio move. When Erica showed Michael the new location, the studio, he was thrilled. They will only be a few blocks away, so Michael can drop her off at the studio, then drive to the Adaptive Fitness Center / clinic. During the Thanksgiving gathering at the Murphy Hotel, Erica was again invited to the main table. They need to talk to her about helping the studio move into the new location. At this time, Ashley Hashimoto, Aaron Murphy Shaw, Rio Amaya, and Trey Murphy Jr. offered to help them move as soon as they are on the winter break from graduate school. The Murphy family also needs to talk to Erica about helping Marie's parents help their clients with their medical expenses. They knew that this would quickly snowball, so they offered to help with expenses. Since Erica is going to pay for their father's educational expenses, they asked her to hold off any more donations. After her father graduates from university, then she can resume donating. When Erica acquiesced, they breathed a sigh of relief. However, they would continue making videos. They would let her continue making videos of her clients, since it's bringing awareness of what seniors and caregivers need. Also, when Erica RSVP, she carefully asked them of her family to consider offering low sodium or salt substitute options. Much to her relief, they did reply back with the fact that they do use fresh vegetables, herbs, spices, and citrus. They also use fresh turkey and homemade sides. That being said, they did agree to low sodium broth, seasoning, unsalted butter, low fat dairy. When the woman put the finished dishes to the back room, they labeled which ones were low sodium alternatives. After Thanksgiving, Alex, Chachi, Erica, and Michael resumed harvesting sea urchins. At this time, Erica asked for less out of respect to Meg. Much to her relief, they acquiesced once she got enough just to flavor her rice. They spent the rest of the year fishing on the public pier. When the seas were relatively calm, Alex took his boat out and they went fishing for larger fish. During the first 3 weeks of September, the studio ramped up preparation to move. Also, Erica got her own office. She spent part of her weekend packing some stuff from her home to go to her office. For example, she got a duplicate diploma for her theater arts degree from alma mater. When she got that in the mail, she bought a frame for it. When she started decorating her own office, she would nail it to her wall. Also, during weekends, when she didn't have a podcast or riding along with Maria's parents, she went to a local Bed Bath & Beyond to get more items to decorate her office. For example, she got a full-length mirror, comfortable seating, storage, whiteboard, theater-inspired decor, visual interest, live plants, and decorative accessories. She also spent some time at a local Thomas Kincaid art gallery when she saw a painting of Carmel by the Sea's Dolores Street and the Tuck Box Tea Room. She bought 2 of them. She gave one of them to her father as a Christmas gift to him, while she decided to put the second one in her office. As was their tradition, Erica and Michael spent Christmas with his parents. After Erica gave her father a Thomas Kincaid painting at his permanent home, they went to Michael's parents' home to celebrate Christmas. There was an interesting development. After Erica and Michael concluded their visit, her father went back to his home. At this time, Meg had a family meeting. She needed to know why her father was divorced. With Michael and his parents' support, Erica carefully gave her a timeline. Next, she disclosed all the information she surmised was the cause, including her visit to his side of the family. Also, Erica said that he's to remain homophobic. That's the only way he'll stay out of his daughter's marriage. After Meg gave it some serious thought, she came up with her terms. Granted, she's still grieving. However, she's willing to give Erica's father a second chance. That being said, Meg asked Erica to consider allowing her father to become non-homophobic. Meg said that she'll make certain her father stays out of his daughter's marriage. After Michael looked at Erica, she acquiesced. At this time, Michael breathed a sigh of relief. It made sense. As long as her father remains homophobic, he will remain a toxic person to Meg and her children, and they have suffered enough. They don't want her father's trauma to add to it. Also, if Erica's father is serious about starting anew, that he must see a counselor at the public university at least once a month. He must be serious about making major changes in how he sees himself, how he treats her and her children. If he doesn't agree, then it's a no-go. After Meg had a heart-to-heart talk with Erica's father, he acquiesced. So as soon as he started attending public university in January, he brought his service dog with him to classes and therapy sessions. That night, before Erica and Michael retired, they took out their prayer beads and prayed not only for her father's future, but also for George Michael's family. He passed away earlier that day. She knew that he was not only born in a country that is xenophobic and homophobic, she wouldn't be surprised if his parents were the same as well. It beefed up Erica's effort to protect and support Michael in any way she can. At this time, she also prayed to all people who are raised by homophobic parents. Since Christmas was on a Sunday that year, the studio gave people the option of taking Monday off. Much to everyone's relief, everybody showed up on Monday. And some of them even worked overtime. The reason was the fact that everybody wanted to take Friday off or leave early on Friday. So by 5 p.m. on Thursday, everybody got moved in. Everyone high-fived each other, went separate ways. Erica did show up the next day to start unpacking her new office. During her lunch hour, she walked a few blocks to the new studio, from the new studio to the Adaptive Fitness Center clinic to have lunch with Michael. The new studio was a multi-story steel reinforced concrete and glass building with oversized glass windows, and a steel reinforced concrete parking garage next to it. From the street, you can walk through concrete sidewalks onto some steps. The main entrance is a double glass door. To the left of the door is the name of the studio and the logo. The glass door also has the name of the studio, address, and phone number. After Erica finished decorating her office, she went downstairs to the front lobby area. Once she locked the front door, she walked to the Adaptive Fitness Center to work out with Chachi. At 5 p.m., Michael's ready to go home. On the way home, they stopped by Costco for some grocery shopping, then they went home. Also, to prepare for the next generation to start working at the studio, Trey Murphy Sr. also decided to stop working as an independent contractor. Instead, he'll head the new IT department at the studio. His son will take the lead in the social media division of the studio after he completes graduate school. So he and Erica's office will be next to each other. Erica looked forward to getting to know both of them moving forward. So, questions, comments, constructive criticisms, asking for clarifications, let me know in the comments below, and I shall see you next time. Take care.